Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Glow Beyond podcast. Today, we are in Singapore.
Yay!
So this is
welcome to Singapore.
Yes, hi. So this is my new friend. Her name is Qiao Qing. How I found Qiao Qing was because I was just scrolling one day on IG, and I found this IG page called Little Warriors, and I was very intrigued because I saw that this very strong mother sharing about her journey managing, taking care of her two little girls with eczema. And she was also very entrepreneurial. She has this thing called protective sleeve.
Yes.
And I was just very intrigued and I just wanted to know their story because we all know that having kids with skin condition is never an easy thing. So I just, coincidentally, I'm also in Singapore. So we managed to choose a time and just sit down and get to know both of you a little bit more.
So my name is Big Sister.
Big sister.
And how old is Big Sister? How old are you? 8 years old. So she's 8 years old. I have a younger one. She's 4 years old.
So Qiao Qing, how are you feeling?
Great. I'm very happy that we have this community, this platform to share, which is the entire objective of what I started out to do with Little Warriors. So the backstory to Little Warriors is Big Sister was born with eczema, but hers was never considered severe. It was very troubling already to deal with the scratches, the baby not sleeping at night, when all my friends seemed to have very happy and easygoing babies, which they would give advice like, then you just let her sleep, just let her scratch. It's okay when she will get used to it. But many of you would know, as parents or even as people with skin condition, just let them scratch doesn't really work. You end up with bed sheets with blood, clothes with blood. But we managed to go through it. And when Big Sis was 3 years old, I realized I was pregnant again. The second time round, and this is a question that many of you ask also, where do I find the courage to have another child if I'm already struggling with the first one? To be honest, I thought I had it. I thought I could manage eczema the second time round. I thought that I just need to keep a clean diet. I need to drink celery juice. I need to eat lots of probiotics. I need to cook and eat well. And second time round, eczema will not be a problem. Unfortunately, for our case, the second time round was worse. Much, much worse. Little Sis was born in 2020. And then she had eczema that was so severe. Her legs and her face were covered with open wounds. That the doctor told me she had to depend on steroids for the rest of her life. It was very, very, very hard. There were periods where we were really struggling to survive. We were taking it day by day, night by night. There were times when I honestly thought we wouldn't survive. We were carrying her. She was crying. I was crying. Our relationship with family was really bad as a result because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't a nice person to be around. As many of you would be able to relate, when we are sleep deprived, our brain is not working well. We start to have these dark thoughts. These dark thoughts that consume us, and unfortunately, we show these dark thoughts to the people who care for us the most.
Yes.
The people around us.
Honestly, Qiao Qing, it really sounds like a lot for you to handle. Actually, I really want to understand when you gave birth to Big Sis. So what are the first symptoms of kids' eczema that it hit you that, okay, this is more than I can handle. This is more than I know.
I've had eczema since early adulthood, but it's the minor kind. I will go to different doctors. They would give steroid creams. I would use them and they would go away after a while. I also explored TCM. Nothing too major. With Big Sis, after I finished my confinement, so when she was 1 month old, I decided to give her a new brand of formula. So we opened up the new brand of formula, we gave it to her. The next day, she broke out in rashes all over her body. So as new parents, we were anxious. We didn't know what it was. We brought her to the pediatrician. The pediatrician told us, this is eczema. I broke down the moment I went out of the office. Because I have eczema, I didn't think it would pass on to my kid. For the doctor to confirm with me that my kid has eczema, has sensitive skin, that I would have to manage, it was very scary. Because I know how to manage myself. I don't know how to manage a kid. I was a new mother. I was struggling to feed and to keep this baby alive. And now you tell me she has eczema. So it started off our journey into, at that point in time, we still didn't know about allergies and triggers. So I was breastfeeding, I was eating whatever, and people were telling me that don't worry, what you eat will not pass on through your breast milk. It doesn't work that way. And the doctors will even tell me that whatever you consume will not be passed on to the baby.
Then meaning I can drink alcohol, right?
Exactly. Right. If they say it doesn't pass on, so by right you can drink. So we had many years where we were struggling to find out what were the triggers. We only confirmed that food was a trigger for her when she was 2 years old, and we sent her to the local preschool. So before that, we were very careful about what we gave her. We had some thoughts about what could be triggering her eczema. We knew that dairy was a problem for her. But then in my mind, I thought that, wow, I cannot keep her in a bubble forever. So let her go to a normal preschool, let her eat whatever all her friends will eat. Maybe let's suffer for a little bit and then she will outgrow it. It's like what everybody else tells us, right? Little bit, you introduce and let her get used to it, let her body get stronger. So I decided that I need to be tough, I need to go through it. So we sent her to the preschool. She ate whatever the other kids ate. Within 2 weeks, her eyes were swollen. Her entire face was covered with rashes. And her eyes were so swollen that they were left only with little slits. She was covered in rashes and she was scratching and she was bleeding. And I realized that, no, it doesn't work that way. I cannot just let her eat whatever. And then we started off our journey to figure out what her triggers are.
Which we are going to talk about it a little bit more. But I kind of want to go back to the moment where you say that, when eczema, like, that the doctor told you that your daughter had eczema and that it probably going to be chronic and you were feeling very scared. Apart from that, do you actually feel guilty too?
Yes. Of course. My husband didn't have eczema. I have eczema. So who else do I blame but myself? I think that was self-blame and guilt was the reason why I came out of the doctor's office and I cried. Because I thought, this thing that I had in my hand, this baby is now my life. And I gave her this condition. So guilt is something I struggled with for a really long time. Now my kids are 8 and 4. I'm happy to say that I have, through therapy, I've gone for therapy, I've worked on my own self-care. I managed to resolve this part about self-blame, about guilt. I managed to resolve it because I know it doesn't help.
So then something that I would really want to ask you on behalf of parents and also on behalf of people who want to be parents but they have skin condition. Do you have any advice for them if they want to have kids? Like, for example, me?
Okay. My advice is that you are the best person to be able to help. There are 1,001 conditions that your child can be born with. There is no perfect child. There can be children who are born with behavioral issues, children who are born with eyesight issues, children who are born with listening issues. Nobody is perfect. Our children will, I'm telling you, will struggle with their skin. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Our children will have. If I were to have any more children in the future, they will have skin issues. It's something that they have to live with. It's something we have to live with. But who better to take care of them than us? Because we live through it.
Yeah. So now we have Big Sis right here with us. I just want to understand also, initially when eczema symptoms appear, how was it? And I remember you say that it was scary for you, but we really want to understand how was it exactly?
I'll start off by saying that for babies, the symptoms are usually similar. They start off with the folds around the neck, in front of the elbows, and behind the legs. So that's where the rashes usually appear. So for Big Sis, it also was across her body and her back, tiny, tiny rashes. And then as she grew, the rashes would then evolve and the areas of concern would change also. Do you want to tell everybody where your eczema is now?
Hands and here
At the elbow area. And where else on your legs do you have eczema? Where?
at the back of the knee,
At the back of the knees. Which is the hardest area to manage?
elbow.
Elbows are the hardest to manage. Why?
Cause it's more itchy.
The elbows are the itchiest, and you tend to scratch the elbows the most. And what happens if you scratch too much?
Got blood no?
Got blood. Okay, I want to ask you. I can hear the scratching. Y'all can hear the scratching too. Okay, I want to ask you. Do your friends know that you have eczema? Yes, your friends know that you have eczema. How do they think about eczema? Do they ask you about your eczema? No, they don't. How do you feel about having eczema?
Bad.
Eczema is bad. How does it make you feel?
Bad.
It makes you feel bad? Do you feel sad or do you feel angry when you have eczema?
Sad.
You feel sad. What is it that you feel sad about?
I cannot eat other things like
There are many things that you cannot eat because they make your eczema itchy, right? So tell me, what is the thing that you would love to eat the most?
ice cream and donut.
Ice cream and donuts. And what is it in ice cream and donuts that you cannot eat?
Egg.
Eggs are inside. Milk. Eggs and milk make you itchy, right? Oh, and you would love to have lots of ice cream and donut, if not for eczema, right? Okay, so let me ask you. Do your friends in school know you have eczema?
Yeah.
How do they know?
Cause I'm the only one that wear long black pants and have no CCA.
Oh, you are the only one who wears long black pants to school because you need to protect your eczema wounds. Do your friends ask you about it?
In P1.
In P1, they ask you why you wore long black pants. Okay, what was your answer?
Cause I wear.
Do you explain why?
I just say cause I wear.
Or you didn't want to explain to them? How did that make you feel?
Don't know.
Don't know. Do you feel you are different or do you feel you are special? Or you're okay with wearing, or you're okay with being different?
I'm okay with having eczema, but I'm not okay wearing long pants.
Oh, you don't like to wear long pants. You don't like to look different from your friends?
No, it's okay if I look different. It's just because Singapore, the weather too hot.
Oh, it's because it's too hot, so wearing long pants is very difficult for you, right? But are you okay to look different? You are? How do you feel being different from other people?
Normal.
You feel normal. Are you confident about yourself? Do you like being yourself? You don't like being yourself. Why?
Cause I want to drop my Rashes.
Oh, you don't want to have rashes.
Yes.
If you don't have rashes, will you love yourself?
Yes.
Do you know that mama loves you even with or without rashes?
Yes.
You know that mama loves you and your sister even if you all have eczema?
Yes.
Even if you are sad, if you are angry, mama helps you and loves you a lot, right?
Yes.
That was a nice chat with Big Sis. I think she's trying to describe her big feelings with very, very simple words. And I think that is actually a very beautiful thing. We should really hear more from little kids, actually. So thank you so much for allowing Big Sis to speak on the podcast. So far, we have talked about, how difficult it has been for you. And when we talk about the symptoms, the itch and when the eczema rashes appearing on the folds of the skin, how do you handle it? How do you soothe them physically?
Okay. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge that itch is an unbearable sensation. And even as adults, when we get mosquito bites, we will scratch. The number one thing that you should never say to your child who has skin condition is stop scratching, because it doesn't help. So if you are an adult and you tell your child to stop scratching, I know it comes from the goodness of your heart. The reason you are saying that is because you don't want your child to tear open their skin. The rationale behind and the objective behind is out of love. But what you are showing if you tell your child not to scratch is that you do not empathize with them. You are showing that you don't understand how it feels when our child look towards us for everything, for the dependence, for support, for love. The number one thing that as a parent would make a difference in your relationship with your child is to show empathy, to show that you understand them. So what I would do when my child is in a scratching frenzy, the number one thing I would do is to empathize and acknowledge. It's very itchy, right? It's very painful, right? I get it. As with everything else that humans need is acknowledgement.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. Maybe my mother never said this to me before. Yeah.
As with everything that humans and adults need for everything that we do in life is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
We need people to acknowledge what we are going through. And if you go to your child or anybody who is in difficulty, anybody who is struggling, to say that, I get it. It's very painful, right? I get it. That is the first step, because you are putting yourself at the same level as your child. And then after you acknowledge, you need to give clear solutions. For somebody who is itching, they are not in the right frame of mind to think about solutions. Even as grown adults, we know that by scratching open our mosquito bites does no good at all, but we do that because when we are itching, we're not thinking straight. So what they need is for a third party to come in with clear solutions. What I always do is I offer two choices. I will come over and it's very itchy, right? Okay, mama, get it. Here. Do you want a cold drink or do you want to go shower? I give two clear solutions. The child does not have the mental capacity to think about, stop scratching, why you never drink water? I tell you to drink water already. Why you never sleep earlier? All these are water under the bridge. You need to give two clear solutions. Do you want a cold drink? Do you want to go shower? Let me help you. And you go through, you follow what your child tells you. Because there's no point if you cold drink, no wonder later you cough. Then if you offer a solution, if you offer a choice and you don't follow through with their option, that doesn't work. You need to follow through, let them choose what they want, and then end off with, let me help you. So if your child is scratching, you go to this very itchy, right? Okay, come. Do you want to go drink? You want? Okay, mama help you. Okay. That's exactly the 3 steps. Acknowledge, offer clear solutions, and then tell them that we are here to help. We're not here to hit your hand and say stop scratching. We're not here to scold you for scratching. We are here to help.
I feel like I'm in a parenting workshop. I think it would definitely come in handy for me.
And then after your child has calmed down, when you're in a good mood, when you're both in a place where you can talk about things nicely and calmly, that's when you plan for the future. As with all businesses, you do not deal with crisis plans during a crisis. You formulate plans during peace times. So you formulate a plan together with your child. Next time, if you are itchy, let mama know. How do you want me to help you? When you are in pain, what is it that you want me to do? This cream and this cream, which one feels better? If you are itchy, do you want me to take ice cube for you? Does that help? Do you want me to give you a hug? What would help? You formulate a plan together when you are calm and you are optimistic and happy. And when the situation arises again, that's where you take out your plan and you execute it.
Well, that sounds very, very practical, and very easy to do, very actionable. I'm actually very curious. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of stories, a lot that you've been through with your kids. What actually was the scariest time that you can recall?
Okay, there was two incidents that left a very deep impression on my mind. The first experience was when little sis was 1.5 years old. Every night I would be sleeping with Big Sis to help her with her scratches throughout the night. Little sis would be sleeping with my helper, who would be hugging her and helping her soothe her itchy. So she would pat and massage throughout the night to help her sleep. So there was one night I woke up to screaming from the other room. I instinctively woke up and I remember thinking this is not the usual cries. So she would cry throughout the night from her itch, from wanting to drink milk and all that. But I woke up and I knew it was a different cry. I jumped out of bed, I went into the room, I turned on the light and I screamed because my helper was doing this to little sis. She was holding on to her face and her hands were covered in blood. Little sis was covered entirely in blood from her neck down. She managed to scratch her entire face and the blood was just dripping. My helper was crying because she was holding on to the baby's cheeks and just screaming for help. I went in and I have to first say that I think I'm a very strong person. In my corporate work, I have dealt with crisis. I lead crisis teams. I'm first aid trained. I know what to do. But when it comes to your child, I flicked on the switch. I saw the blood. My mind went blank. For a few seconds, I reviewed the CCTV footage because I have footage at home. I screamed and just didn't know what to do. So when I finally got myself together, we carried her like this. We held her face. We carried her to the kitchen sink to wash her up. I wanted to know the extent of the damage and whether we need to go to the hospital to get stitches, which is another worst nightmare. To think that your daughter might need stitches on the face. So when we managed to wash off the blood, then to check the extent of the damage, we realized that it was just very superficial wounds. But strangely, these kids have lots of blood vessels very near the surface of the skin, and just by scratching, there was so much blood. So I assessed that we didn't need to go to the hospital. We could manage it at home. But that incident changed my life because as a parent, to witness that the amount of damage that your child can inflict upon herself, and to know that all I need to do is to sleep. If I wake up, my child will be covered in blood. That changes me fundamentally because I went on high alert mode. I cannot sleep. I would just be closing my eyes and resting every night, waiting to hear for the next cry. The moment I hear cries, I jump out of bed. So I tell everybody that I don't actually sleep at night, I just nap. I nap in 20-minute intervals because my mind cannot shut down. I know that if my mind goes to sleep, the consequences is I will wake up to my baby in blood.
Yeah. It's a lot, honestly. I honestly cannot imagine you going through it. Like, hearing the story from you is already scary enough. And I can't imagine other parents dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. Qiao Qing, I really want to ask you, has your child asked you any difficult questions? Like, I don't know, like mom, I think I look different from other kids. I think like the things I go through, I'm very different from other kids. Why am I so different? You know, difficult questions from your children. How do you navigate that?
Yes. So with every stage of childhood comes different challenges. Now we're at the stage where little sis is 4 years old and she is starting to ask questions. And as much as I welcome these questions, it is very heartbreaking as a mother.
So what are the difficult questions that you get from small sis?
So little sis will walk past cupcake shops. There's this cupcake shop that we always walk past, and she would stand there with her face at the window, and then she will go, "Wow, Mama, so many cupcakes! Mama, I cannot eat any of them." Oh my, the way my heart breaks. But yet I have to put on a really positive front and say, "Yes, baby, you cannot have any of these. All these have gluten. You're allergic to gluten. Let's go home. Mama will make cupcakes for you." It's really, really hard, but it requires a constant communication. So I think in the past, parents would try to hide a lot of things from children to protect, with the whole intention of protecting children. But now what I think is that instead of hiding it from them, we need to be really open. Yes, you cannot have these food. They look really yummy. I wish we can have them, but you are allergic. Let me give you these options instead. Let's go for fruit juice. Do you want to drink fruit juice or do you want to have a fruit? How about a candy, a safe candy? Or how about, let's go home. Do you want to bake with Mama? Let's bake together. So we need to acknowledge instead of trying to distract a child, which our parents used to do.
Yeah.
If we're upset, our parents would distract us to say, it's okay, come, I bring you go kiddie ride. So instead of distracting them, we would acknowledge, yes, I wish you can eat the cupcakes. The cupcakes look really nice, right? Acknowledge it. And if they cry about it, hold space for them. Yes, it is hard to look at these things and to know that you cannot have them. I know it's hard. I get it. I'm sad too. After you're done being sad, let's see what else we can do.
So then it sounds like there's a lot to navigate when it comes to their reaction to foods as well. Is there any step-by-step guide that you can share with parents who are possibly listening to this? How did you actually, first and foremost, how did you navigate the journey actually?
So it started off with Big Sis when she would come home from preschool and then she would cry whenever there are classmates' birthday parties. So they would bring birthday cakes to school and then Big Sis would sing the happy birthday song together with them. And after that, they would take pictures together and then you cannot eat the cake, right? And what would you do? Sit at the corner and eat your own snacks. You will eat the snacks that Mama prepared for you, right? Yeah, so she would have a lot of emotional struggle. She would come home and she would cry. And I would cry along with her. So what I would do is I would acknowledge the feelings. And I think it's okay for us as parents to show our real feelings to our children also. I would cry together. If she cries, there are times when I would cry together with her, and I would acknowledge that I know it's very hard. Yes, it is very hard. It sounds like you really wanted the cakes. Let's think of solutions together instead of sweeping it under the carpet and trying to distract her, which doesn't help because she would have to face this for the rest of her life. So we would come together and we would think, okay, these are safe treats that we can bring to school. Can we bake some things that are safe for you? And whenever there are birthday parties, let's bring these treats.
I know allergies with kids, it can be a lot to navigate through because I think there's no like proper guideline out there because every child is very different. And I think you have handled it very wonderfully. So is there any advice that you can give to parents out there who are also navigating this journey and perhaps they are also in the beginning of their journey as well?
My advice would be to find your community here, like us. It is very important to find support, not just physical support for taking care of your children. You need to have mental support, and it comes in the form of people who understand what you're going through. So this is why I set up an online community of like-minded parents who are also struggling in the same journey. I cannot tell you how immensely useful it is to be able to see our own struggles happen in other families also. I do not wish this upon anybody else, but to be able to see other people going through the same struggles and that we are in the same boat, it helps so much. It is such a difficult journey that this boat that we are on is so difficult to row. But I want to tell so many of you out there that we are not rowing alone. We are on the same boat. We are all rowing the same boat. We may not see each other, but we are rowing this same difficult journey.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Qiao Qing. I feel like we don't often hear a lot from parents who are struggling with children with skin condition, and it's been so honestly a bit healing for me to hear from you. So because growing up, I also feel like I'm the weirdo in the family, and that I constantly need to be fixed, need to be cured, or else I won't ever be able to live a good life, something like that. In the environment that I grew up in was also very stigmatized. And so thank you so much for sharing your journey. But right now, I really want to understand about how did you start your entrepreneurship journey with Protective Sleeve? This is something that I'm very excited to hear from you.
Thank you very much. I love this question. I love to share about my story. So it started with very selfish reasons because my younger one was then a few months old. She was scratching herself at night, and I needed solutions to for her to not. So I needed solutions for her to not tear her skin open whenever she scratched. I know that itch is unbearable and she needs to be able to soothe herself, but I cannot let her tear her skin open with her fingernails every time she scratches. So it was with very selfish reasons that I asked my husband to help me look for tailors or seamstress who can sew garments that I wanted, because I couldn't find anything out there that was suitable for my baby. I was buying different types of pajamas. I was getting gloves and mittens for her and tying and taping them up because they would come off. Nothing was satisfactory to me. So I wanted things that I could customize to my liking. I sent my husband out, look for a seamstress for me who can do this exactly to my specification. And then he gave me the idea that, we are struggling so much in this. I'm sure we are not the only one. If we manage to find a solution for our daughter, what do you think about sharing this solution with other families out there? And that was when I realized that I think it can work. We're not the only ones struggling with this. If I'm struggling with it and I can't find a solution, there must be hundreds and thousands of families out there in the same situation. So my husband was very good with going out to look for solutions. So he would approach factories, seamstress, manufacturers, suppliers, and we went to see so many different factories, and we did so many different prototypes until we landed on one dream material that we found was so good, so smooth. So this is bamboo. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So this is bamboo material. Bamboo material is so much softer than cotton or polyester. It is very breathable. But the problem with bamboo is it is very delicate. It cannot withstand the intense scratching of the fingernails from the child. So what I did was I reinforced bamboo with 100% cotton. So 100% cotton is perfect for children's skin. I reinforced the delicate bamboo with cotton to be able to provide a layer of padding. So with these protective sleeves, the mittens can be opened or closed, and there's a layer of padding. So if you put your fingers inside and you try to scratch yourself, it provides a soothing comfort. So I'm not stopping the children from scratching themselves. I'm not stopping them from soothing their itch, which they need. But what I'm doing is I'm protecting their skin as they soothe themselves.
So you created this product, this protective sleeve for your little sis. And how was it when she put it on?
For younger babies, that time she was about a year old. She didn't struggle that much because she was too young to struggle. But Big Sis, she's older already. So I can be very honest and upfront to say that she doesn't like it. She doesn't like having to wear protective sleeves. She doesn't like having her fingers covered. But she still wears it because she knows it's important. She knows that when she sleeps at night, she cannot control her scratching. So rather than waking up to blood all over her cells, she knows that if she wears the protective sleeves, she will still scratch, but she will not tear her skin open. And it's easier to manage herself throughout the day.
So when other parents purchase the protective sleeve from you and you saw that other kids are benefiting from it, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel that there is a reason for our suffering. We went through so much, and Little Warriors was born out of pain and extreme sadness and suffering from a mother's heart. So it gives me a lot of fulfillment to know that whatever I'm doing is helping other families who are struggling in the same situation. We're not alone. Doing this not only helps other families out there, it heals a part of my heart also, to know that my children are not suffering in vain. I am not crying at night in vain, because I know that there's a purpose, there's a bigger purpose in life out there for us.
And I think that's very, very beautiful. I think the podcast itself is also born from a lot of struggles and pain that I had gone through when I was younger. And knowing that, the community itself, we go through the same pain. So thank you for doing what you do. Qiao Qing, actually, I'm very curious, like, as a parent, you have been a parent for 8 years. It's been a long journey for you, and you've gone through a lot. So actually, how do you take care of your mental health?
Wow, this question is intense. If mental health was something I absolutely struggled with in the initial days, because there's already so much stigma around eczema, that the stigma around mental health is so much worse. Nobody wants to admit that they need help with their mental health, and nobody wants to admit that they are seeking help for it. So what I did was, during those very, very dark days, when I thought I wouldn't be able to survive through another night, my husband was the one who suggested that I look for therapy. Because if I go to friends and family who really care about me, they have a limit to how much they can offer. So they would say things like, just be positive. Just don't think about it. Just don't think too much. And then look on the bright side. It will be better. So as much as they have good intentions, they are not giving the right support that I needed. And it turns out that what I needed to hear from was from a professional. So what I did for self-care was to go to professional therapy. I looked for a counselor, I looked for a therapist for myself. And through these sessions, I realized how stuck in the mud I was, how deep into depression I was. And actually, friends and family were saying all these helpful things, but I was buried under so much dark thoughts. I wasn't able to see the light. I wasn't able to think clearly. So it was through professional therapy that helped me work slowly through it. I had to put in a lot of work. Well, of course, I had to pay for therapy. So I would go every 2 weeks, every month, until I slowly worked my way out of it.
Can you share one main takeaway ever since you started your therapy journey?
So I used to think that sacrifice was what a mother's worth is. I just had to sacrifice more in order to give my children the best. The more I sacrificed, the better my children would be. Now on hindsight, I realized how toxic that was. And my therapist managed to wake me up and tell me that I cannot pour from an empty cup. I needed to fill my own cup before I could fill my children's. And then along the way, I figured out that strangely, in order to fill my own cup, I needed to go back to a corporate work. So I went out to look for a job. I went on to take a full-time corporate role. And that was very fulfilling for me. I filled my own cup. I was so much more confident as a person. I felt that I was worthy in this world. I wasn't just a mother. I came home every day refreshed and with financial ability. So financial capability meant a lot to me. I was independent. I was able to help my children.
You have shared a lot, and we are very grateful on behalf of whoever who is listening to this. I just really want to say thank you so much for being so open about your journey, as well as creating such a wonderful tool to support the community who are also going through what you went through when your children were younger. Before we end this episode, because as a parent with kids, there's a lot to do. I'll have to release her. I would just like to ask you, is there any last words and advice that you would like to offer to people, to parents who are going through the similar journey?
I would like to acknowledge whoever is struggling in this journey that it is very tough. It is a tough journey, and what we are doing is so hard. And if you are listening to this podcast to maybe find a solution for yourself or your child, I want to tell you that you are very strong and you are already doing your best. You need to acknowledge that you are trying your hardest and look for a community out there. Look for support. I'm glad that you're already listening to this podcast because we are here. We understand how it is. And we know you are trying your best. So, yay, 加油!
加油！大家一起加油! Alright, so that marks the end of this episode. And thank you so much, Qiao Qing. You want to say anything before we end?
Bye-bye.
That's a very cute bye-bye. So, we'll see you in the next one. And please don't forget to glow beyond your skin condition like all of us did. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.